I always prided myself on having an immaculate eye for aesthetics. As the head curator for one of the most prestigious modern art galleries in the city, my life was a carefully curated exhibition of wealth, taste, and culture. I wore minimalist designer gowns, drank imported organic wine, and spent my evenings charming millionaire collectors. My husband, Nathan, was a senior IT systems architect. He was the man who made sure the Wi-Fi worked in massive corporate buildings. He owned exactly 4 identical blue button-down shirts, preferred frozen pizza to fine dining, and considered a Good Friday night to be fixing the cable routing behind his computer desk. He was a good provider, but in my world of vibrant, passionate artists, Nathan was just blank wall space. I felt I needed a muse, someone who actually understood passion. I found him in Sebastian. Sebastian was an emerging digital artist, brooding, intense, and creating immersive visual experiences that were taking the underground art scene by storm. Our affair was a fiery, chaotic collision, but Sebastian was perpetually broke. To keep our romance alive and to ensure he kept coming back to me, I started using my position at the gallery. I secretly redirected thousands of dollars from the gallery's marketing budget to pay the rent on Sebastian's downtown loft, claiming it was an off-site incubation space. We used the loft for our secret encounters every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. I was completely confident. I used encrypted messaging apps, and I always made sure the accounting ledgers balanced just enough to avoid a formal review. I thought Nathan was too busy staring at server racks to ever notice what I was painting in the background. My fatal mistake was asking Nathan to do me a favor. Sebastian's career was culminating in a massive solo exhibition at my gallery. The centerpiece was a custom-built $50,000 8K digital canvas that covered an entire wall. It was supposed to display a continuous generative art algorithm. 2 weeks before the opening, the gallery's network went down. To save money and avoid delays, I asked Nathan to come in after hours and configure the gallery's local server to communicate with the massive digital display. He quietly agreed, spent 3 hours in the server closet, and told me it was fully operational. I thought I had used my boring husband to elevate my brilliant lover. The night of the exhibition opening was the pinnacle of my career. The gallery was packed with over 200 elite buyers, critics, and the gallery's billionaire owner, Richard. I was wearing a stunning black silk dress, holding a glass of champagne, standing next to Sebastian at the front of the room. "Ladies and gentlemen," I announced, tapping my glass. The room fell into a hushed, reverent silence. Tonight we unveil a masterpiece, a digital reflection of truth, raw emotion, and hidden depths. Sebastian, the floor is yours. Sebastian gave a pretentious bow, pulled his smartphone from his pocket, and pressed the activation button on his proprietary app to cast his art to the 8K wall. The massive screen flared to life, blindingly bright. But it didn't display abstract, generative art. It displayed a perfectly crisp, perfectly formatted, color-coded spreadsheet. A murmur of confusion rippled through the crowd of millionaires. I squinted at the screen. The spreadsheet was titled, "Gallery Embezzlement and Off-Site Loft Rentals." My champagne glass slipped from my fingers, shattering against the polished concrete floor. Listed in massive 40-point font were the exact dates, times, and routing numbers of every single fraudulent transfer I had made to Sebastian's landlord. But it didn't stop there. The screen automatically scrolled down to reveal a second window. It was a mirror of my encrypted WhatsApp chats. Sebastian, 3:15 p.m. Did you get the gallery to cover the new monitors? Harper, 3:17 p.m. Yes. Build it as exhibition hardware. See you at the loft in 20. Don't tell Nathan. What is this? Richard, the gallery owner, barked, stepping to the front of the crowd, his face purple with rage. Harper, what is the meaning of this? Sebastian was frantically tapping his phone, his face completely panicked. I can't turn it off. The app is locked out. The server isn't responding. From the very back of the gallery, near the coat check, a calm, steady voice cut through the rising panic. The server isn't responding to you, Sebastian, because you don't have administrator privileges. The crowd parted as Nathan walked forward. He was wearing his usual, boring blue button-down shirt, He was holding a small black tablet. He didn't look angry. He looked like a technician completing a successful diagnostic test. "Nathan?" I choked out, my entire body trembling. "Nathan, turn it off. Please, you're ruining the exhibition." "I'm not ruining it, Harper. I'm just displaying the hidden depths you talked about," Nathan said smoothly, stepping up to the glowing 8K wall. He turned to face the gallery owner. "Richard, when Harper asked me to configure your network 2 weeks ago, I ran a standard security diagnostic. I found 3 hidden subfolders in your accounting directory. Harper has stolen roughly $42,000 from your gallery to fund her lover's lifestyle." The entire room erupted into shocked gasps. Wealthy buyers began whispering furiously. Cell phones were pulled out. People were recording the screen. "You hacked my phone?" I screamed, completely losing my carefully curated composure. "I didn't have to," Nathan replied, tapping his tablet. "You connected your phone to the gallery's Wi-Fi network to cast your music playlist. Since I configured the router, I simply set a script to packet sniff the unencrypted backup caches you routinely send to the cloud. You have a great eye for art, Harper, but your data security is absolutely atrocious." Nathan reached into his back pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. He handed it directly to Richard. "That is a signed affidavit of my findings, a copy of the divorce petition I filed this morning, and a flash drive containing the complete digital forensics report," Nathan said. He turned to look at me one last time. There was no sadness in his eyes, just absolute, clinical closure. "I moved my things out of the condo this afternoon. The locks belong to the landlord, but I've already removed myself from the lease." He turned and walked out the front doors of the gallery, the bells chiming cheerfully behind him. Within 30 seconds, Richard fired me loudly in front of the entire city's art elite. He demanded Sebastian vacate the gallery immediately and announced he was calling the police to report the embezzlement. I stood paralyzed under the harsh, glaring light of the $50,000 digital canvas. The spreadsheet was still perfectly displayed behind me. I had spent my entire life trying to surround myself with beautiful, complex masterpieces, only to be completely destroyed by a man who knew the simple, undeniable power of black and white data.